on that note, I didn't think about the fact that I didn't say hello. I just sort of turned the camera on and got to work. Welcome back to the Race F150 build, and that's right, I'm sitting on the bed that we put on in the last episode. I know I left you guys kind of with a cliffhanger last time about doing the battery. Well, guess what? It's right there. I put it in. It's got a hole, it's got a bracket, does its thing. We're gonna keep humming away. As you saw, I just enlarged the holes for the shock mount, so those are good to go now. That's kind of your update for now. Oh, fuck me, I'm tired. That's enough of an update. I'll see you guys in a second when we come back to do some more work. Alright, we're back. We're gonna switch gears a little bit today. We are gonna go ahead and do the front accessory drive kit. That's what these boxes are to my left. The reason for this is I need to know some of the clearances for the drive components to be able to move the steering rack up. Some of the stuff I've talked about, and then also kind of figure out, make sure that our big intake doesn't overhang this. I've never seen a high ram run with these accessories, and really just kind of get them on the motor. Plus, you know, it's fun. We're going to take some new parts, some clean parts, and we're going to put them on a new clean motor. So for once, I'm not going to be covered and breathing in fucking grinding dust and shit for an evening. I go to put on the water pump that's in the box, and oh my god, it doesn't match up. And I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense. The water ports aren't matching. And I thought there was only a year range because there's two different pumps that Ford used on these. There's a standard rotation and a reverse rotation. CVF, by their catalog, only makes a standard rotation water pump Serpentine drive system for this, and really that's because they're dealing with the older cars. So it's generally speaking not an issue. For me, I'll show you guys. I have a reverse rotation, and the giveaway is actually in the angle of the ports. So they all kind of share the same basic shape. However, given that they share the same basic shape, these ports are angled the opposite. So that brings us to where CVF really started to shine. So then they become kind of my freaking heroes, because that was where that conversation started of, hey guys, I think there's a problem, my water pump doesn't work. And they said, yeah, we make a reverse rotation, but it's not in our Wraptor Serpentine system. And I was like, well, that's the problem, because I want the automatic belt tensioner and all that jazz. Oh my god, this thing's gorgeous. And they were understanding of that, and you know, they were really fair about it, and they were like, look, you know, it's kind of your bad, man. And I at that point I was like, fuck, I'm kind of hosed here. And they're like, well, look, let's see if we can throw together a couple things. I had some ideas and threw them at the guy on customer support. I still don't know his name. Whoever you are, please watch this video, and I want you to know, thank you. Like, I can't type thank you enough in my emails. CVF, what a company, thank you. So anyway, he went back and forth and said, look, let me see what I can do. You know, we've got a lot of crap on our plate, but I might be able to squeeze something out. It was about a week later, and I get an email from him with a photo and some specs, and he goes, I think I got it figured out. Everything looks like it lines up. I'm just waiting on some bolts so I can get you real production bolts, but I think I've got a reverse rotation water pump set up to work with the Wraptor kit. I was like, that's awesome. You know, you guys could be able to resell this to people, right? And tell me if I need to just pay for the parts difference or anything like that. He said, no, just send me back the parts that you don't use. Just pay attention to what that is, box them up and ship them back to me, and we'll call it even. What? They just sent me a water pump. Let me go get the other box. I forgot this one showed up about a week ago. Blew my mind, man. They ships me out this box of stuff with torque specs and everything on all the bolts, an itemized thing just like they normally do. New belt, crank pulley hardware for that. The special bolts with the specs on all that. Send me an email layout of how everything should work. And then the important thing is, because we're a reverse rotation water pump, it's just like the LS motors where it needs a smooth water pump pulley because the back of the belt runs on it. So it goes inverse to the rotation of the engine. It sounds really simple, but there's some engineering behind making sure all this lines up. And they were able to utilize, this is one of the pulleys for their non-serpentine kit, but they went above and beyond to a whole other level. Took time out of their day, out of R&D, to go and spec all this out and make sure that I'm just going to be able to bolt this kit on, and I shouldn't have any more battles with this. And that to me is just amazing. they accidentally forgot to ship me the new reverse rotation water pump. So what does he do? Second day airs it. So I'm not going to pull the other pump back out and show you, but basically, ironically, the reverse rotation pumps are a bit smaller. I would have had to change my whole timing cover, and that was a suggestion, but not something I wanted to do, right? This is the original timing cover for this engine. It's in fantastic shape. It's already married and sealed to the block and everything. It would take a bit of effort to undo it. Doable, 100%, but not what myself or the engine builder wanted to have to deal with. So they got me this reverse rotation water pump, and I haven't paid any extra money for it. I'm going to send them their stuff back. I'm not going to be that guy that keeps it just to be a dick. They've done me right. I'm going to do them right. So this is kind of the first part that goes on there. And here's the other thing about this too, right? I've ordered a lot of parts for this truck at this point. And going into the box here, they've got the list. They even sent me the flipping gasket and the fittings. You know, you don't. I don't even know how to count how many parts have been sent without gaskets or hardware. You're expected to come up with it on your own. It's extraordinarily frustrating because I'm not the engineer behind it. And I realize for some parts there's variances, but like, you know the application for my headers and you charge me $1,300 for them after I find a discount code. And you can't even send me the $5 in gaskets. That kind of shit just really frustrates me. So I don't have to worry about that. CVF literally sends you a kit. You just follow the directions and bolt it on. Seriously. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go through this kit. It's not necessarily how to install. It's just ain't some content for the build. And you guys want to follow along because this is the good shit. These are the good parts that we want to see going on here. Yes, these need to be sealed. Don't freak out. I know some of you are getting ready to type in there, you didn't put any tape on them or anything. Yeah, you're right. I did not. I will. So some of the bolts for the water pump go and hold that bracket on. They shoot all the way through. That's why they have to send you those bolts. I think it's 4 or 5 of them. We'll start with the thing that nobody likes, and that's the instructions. So they got me their own special spacers. So this is my special ones for my pump. Shit guys, I'm sorry, I ran to go get the gasket maker and I freaking forgot to hit record. Sorry. So on their paperwork it says blue. I got this specialized water pump and thermostat housing sealer. And the reason for that is because it's specifically resistant to glycol and water. And then the other thing I want to do to this is actually put a little bit of blue thread locker. And remember, for me, I have special spacers. I'm not bragging, it's just a statement. Remember, following the picture says that the recess of the holes faces me. So even though there is a part number with the etching on the back, that is the back. And if you look in the picture, you'll see that's not there either. kind of see where this is going already though. I have this pulley right here and so on and so forth. The AC compressor is going to go here, the tensioner is going to go here, and the power steering pump is going to go here, which is brilliant because our power steering inlet's right there. We'll mount a reservoir up here, and that will keep everything super clean and tidy. And then with the core support being right here, we'll be able to have a not very long hose out to the cooler. Okay, back from dinner. Making good progress. I forgot to hit record though before I tighten down these 2 bolts on the alternator. So, but you saw me put them in, so it's not a big deal. So that's that. This is the water pump pulley. I was just trying to double check and make sure which crank pulley I had was accurate, because I had a brief moment of uh-oh, and there's no uh-oh. They did a perfect job. So I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Super solid. Doesn't flex. I mean, this is this is 1/2 inch thick aluminum plate that's been CNC'd into this shape. So, and it's pretty light. So anyway, now we want to take, and I want to zing this off real quick. Okay, back in action. So what it ended up being is a bad tap job specifically on this boss, but this one was kind of dirty, so I ran a tap through it. I somehow had one, and then actually both bolts were a little bit thick, so I just ran them through a die real quick, and one of them needed some cleanup, and it was probably because I butchered the threads a little bit on the end trying to rethread it with the bolt, which you don't do, so don't do that. I mean, they screw right in now, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw on some Loctite to the first bolt, since we know it works now because I just tried it. What you guys think? It's kind of dark, I know. Let's do this. You can kind of get a feel for how that all looks. I think it looks good. Okay, so in the hub adapter box, it has some bolts. Let's see if these are the right thread. At least it gives me something to start with. No, not even close. Okay, so that's definitely not it. Oh man, I don't even think I can check threads this big. I'm almost positive I have nothing even close to this. Unfortunately, you know, I have an aftermarket balancer. This isn't a CVF problem. They just kind of, you know, this is stuff for their adapter, their hub adapter, so they know it works. These bolts are supposed to kind of work in anything. I know that this diameter is good. I guess that gives me a starting point. I think this is a 3/8. Okay, so we know that the diameter of this is right, so let's get the calipers. And I want to say 3/8 is like 0.375, which is what this is. Okay, so that's a good start. Turn that off. Interestingly enough, I have some 3/8/16 bolts in stainless. I bet this is 3/8/24. How much you want to bet? So that's 3/8/16. Matches this bolt. Okay. Yeah, it's not. Those threads are in decent shape. This is just too big.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
Now I could drill it and tap it, but that's not what I want to do. Let's see if... So that's the problem, the bolts are just too big. Does it line up? It does line up. Okay, that's a good start. Let me see what I can drum up. It's going to be a little bit smaller than this. I got to looking and measuring, and the more I looked at it, I noticed that the tap would actually start in. And I started looking, and it did kind of look like there were some burrs. So I ran it a couple turns and backed it out. Threads looked really good. Ran it a couple more turns, backed it out. The thread still looked good, so it didn't look like I was hacking the threads off. And I just went fairly deep with it, and it looks great inside the hole. So believe it or not, it is a 3/8/16, and I'll show you with their supplied bolts. The threads match beautifully, and it's a 3/8, and the hole that I just tapped, it threads right into. Now I haven't gone all the way yet, but you kind of get the point, and you can feel it kind of grinds from some burrs. The threads don't look bad. I mean, it's it's very odd to have multiple parts from multiple places and manufacturers and even people that assembled them to need tapping like this, especially in one go, but I guess this is kind of where we're at. So it's literally just cleaning threads, so that's what we're gonna do. So because I can't get my little T-handle thing in here, I am using a crescent. Not really optimal. I know there's basically a tool that goes on a ratchet that comes in here. See, look, real easy, not struggling at all. And then it hits some burrs and junk. You go a couple turns, back it off a little bit till it's easy. Go a couple turns, back it off. It's really easy. Good to go now. That was all 4 holes. With this being the main driver and also having direct connection to the engine, a little bit of thread blocker could do it some good. Perfect. That's it. That's nice and tight. Man, I can't wait to start this thing. Well, there you have it. The first and only, at least delivered to a customer in the world, reverse water pump CVF Wraptor kit. And I have it in black. I think it looks good. I think it looks great, actually. Bit of a pain in the ass. I had to tap some holes. I had to chase a couple bolt threads. But I think overall it turned out really good. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you soon.